Always dig up these stories about innovation that kind of come out of nowhere, like you just wouldn't expect it.
Right.
Well, get this. Somebody in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, has just like gone ahead and launched their own smartphone.
Oh, wow.
It really makes you think like, where does all this big tech news actually come from?
Yeah, you don't often think about it coming from there. That's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Launching a smartphone, I mean,
It's huge.
yeah, that's a huge undertaking. There's
Yeah.
so much involved. Like, you've got design and engineering and manufacturing, and then you got to get it out there to people.
Yeah, and they say in the article we're looking at, they built this thing up from scratch.
Oh, wow. From scratch.
Yeah, so that's what we're diving into today. You sent me this really fascinating article from East Coast Radio about it. So this is basically like your shortcut to understanding what's happening with this whole thing over in KZN.
Yeah, we'll break it down.
Without having to do all the research yourself, we went through and we picked out all the really juicy bits.
Exactly. We'll just like pull out the most insightful parts, give you the what and the why, without getting too bogged down in all of the little details.
Okay, so a little bit of context. The guy behind all this is named Lesley Ncube. He's a young entrepreneur from KwaZulu-Natal, and apparently he started out being really passionate about soccer.
Oh, interesting.
But technology kind of took over as his main thing. And about 2 years before this article came out, which was in July 2020, he started his company, Thatha.
So around 2018,
Yeah.
it's interesting to think about what he was doing in those early days before the smartphone launch. I mean, that must have been when he was laying the groundwork, getting everything ready.
Yeah, and the name of the company, Thatha, actually means take in isiZulu,
Oh, wow, that's cool.
which, really says a lot. It's like he's grabbing this opportunity, going for it in a big way.
It's about taking charge, not just participating. I like that.
Exactly. And what's really interesting? Leslie's big vision is to make affordable devices for Africans made by Africans. That's the whole driving force behind it.
It makes so much sense when you think about it. I mean, in a lot of African markets, the cost of imported devices is just so high, it prevents a lot of people from getting online.
Totally.
And it's not just about price either. It's about having technology that's designed with the specific needs and culture of African users in mind, something that global tech companies don't always get right.
Okay, so let's focus on the smartphone launch itself. The article says Lesley did the build-up for it from scratch.
From scratch.
Like, what does that even mean? Was he designing chips and operating systems, or is it more about putting it all together?
Well, I mean, designing your own chipsets and operating system, that's like,
That's intense.
yeah, that's a whole other level. It would take tons of resources and expertise. I doubt a new company like Thatha would be doing that. It's more likely that they're carefully choosing existing components, but really focusing on the design and making the software perfect for their target market.
Yeah, that sounds more realistic. And their approach is interesting, too. They decided to start with the hardware first before moving into software.
Right? Usually it's the other way around.
Yeah, a lot of companies start with software and then get into hardware. What do you think? What are some of the pros and cons of doing it Thatha's way, especially in today's world where software is so important for the user experience?
Well, focusing on the hardware first,
Yeah.
I guess that lets them really fine-tune the components and make sure the performance is top-notch for what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But there are definitely some hurdles, like manufacturing a lot of devices, figuring out the whole supply chain, and then competing with those big companies that already have all these amazing software features and tons of developers supporting them.
Yeah, it's a tough market.
It is. But maybe starting with hardware lets them create something really unique, something tailored to specific needs that you wouldn't find in a generic global product.
So we also get a little peek into Leslie's background in the article. Back when it came out in July 2020, he was only 26.
Wow, 26.
And it describes him as a self-made businessman. He was also finishing up his advanced diploma in computer science.
So he's got the brains and the drive.
Yeah, it's super inspiring.
Yeah.
But I mean, running a hardware startup, it can't be all sunshine and roses. What are some of the behind-the-scenes challenges that Lesley and Thatha might be dealing with?
Oh, for sure. Like, first of all, getting enough money to make it all happen.
Yeah.
Then you have to figure out all the complicated logistics of getting the parts and manufacturing the phones,
Right.
and then building a team of talented people. And on top of all that, you've got these giant global brands with their massive marketing budgets, and they're everywhere. To compete with that, you need so much determination and a really smart strategy.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, if anyone listening is curious about Thatha's products, the article mentions that you can find their smartphone and other devices and software on their website.
Oh, cool. So you can just go straight to the source. I like that.
Yeah.
Smart move for a smaller company.
Yeah.
They can control how they present themselves to customers. They can get direct feedback, and they probably make more money by cutting out the middleman.
And the article includes this really personal touch. They embedded an Instagram post from Lesley from July 27, 2020. He talks about how proud he is to be part of this initiative, which, I can pretty much assume is the smartphone launch.
Oh, that's awesome. You can really feel his passion for this project.
Totally. And just to be totally transparent, everything we've been discussing is from that article by Stacy and JS Boo Boo on East Coast Radio, published on July 30, 2020.
Right, we're sticking to the facts.
Yeah, so you know exactly what we're basing this on, and you can go check it out for yourself if you want to dig deeper.
That's important. Keeps things credible.
Okay, so think about what this means for you listening right now. We have this young guy in KwaZulu-Natal who saw a need and then actually went and designed and launched his own smartphone. It makes you realize that innovation can come from anywhere.
It really challenges our assumptions
Yeah.
about, where the next big tech breakthrough is going to come from.
And it puts the spotlight on a place that you don't normally think of as a hub for tech innovation.
Yeah, it shows the potential that exists all across Africa
Totally.
for people to develop their own solutions to the challenges they face.
Okay, so just to recap, Lesley Ncube, with his company, Thatha, in KwaZulu-Natal, pulled off this amazing feat launching his own smartphone. And his driving force was to make technology more affordable and accessible for the African market. It's a story about ambition and getting things done.
It is. It's about identifying a need and then actually going out and making a difference.
Okay, so here's something to ponder. What does Lesley Ncube's story, the fact that he launched a locally made smartphone in KZN, what does it tell us about the future of technology and innovation worldwide?
Good question.
And what other cool developments are happening right now or unexpected corners of the world that we haven't even heard about yet? It makes you wonder about human creativity and how it's popping up everywhere in this connected world we live in, not just in the usual tech hubs.
Yeah, it really makes you think about how innovation is becoming more decentralized and how people with different perspectives and local knowledge are going to play a bigger role in shaping the technology of the future. We could see solutions we haven't even dreamed of yet.
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be paying attention to what's happening all over the world.
Absolutely.
Oh.
We might be surprised by what we find.
All right, that's it for this deep dive. Until next time.
See ya.